Hey, welcome to Bench Points. We are so glad to have you here. If you have never been here before, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. Hell of a week this week in college basketball. We're going to have to be really careful that we don't talk all night because there is enough to fill it. Just unbelievable. With Michigan surviving, Kansas surviving, Houston grinds out another one. I mean, we're going to try to hit it all, but we're going to do the best we can. And things that we miss, go ahead and leave it in the comments, and we'll continue that conversation there. Speaking of comments, we're going to start having a bench check where we check in with one of our fellow bench mates that are there on social media, and they might have a comment that really hits it, or maybe something that we disagree with, or something we're all in on, or something we just want to talk further about. So for this week, we've got Brad Prather, or at Brad Prather 823. And his comment is Purdue is still figuring some things out with Clough and Meyer. But we're getting better every game by little jumps. They did need the Iowa State game, and I agree with you that we're right where we want to be in the 3 to 6 ranking and somewhat overlooked.
Yeah, 100% amen to this comment. It's kind of feeding off of one of the things that we talked about last week is that slot of 3 to 5 right now, with the attention going to Arizona and Michigan, deservedly so. Even Iowa State's getting somewhat overlooked. Like, Iowa State, UConn, Purdue, kind of floating right in that middle range right there in the tier 1 group. I can't agree more. And with the figuring things out with Clough and Mayer, Omer's starting to piece it together. We're going to do just a really quick recap on this Purdue game, but Mayer came in off the bench when Braden Smith got 3 fouls midway through the first half, and we actually were plus with him on the floor. I believe he went 3 for 4 from the field, a couple big threes, nice little bucket inside, really big minutes from Omer when we needed him. What a luxury for Purdue to have to play a Big Ten opponent and get plus production with the star point guard off the floor, right? And then Clough's kind of been piecing it together game by game. One of the things I've really liked about Clough, he has some dumb decision making sometimes, like his flagrant foul was really unnecessary, but at the same time, like, he's got some shit to him. Brad, amen to your comment. Never agreed with anything more. Welcome to the bench and boiler up.
Yeah, the only thing I have to add is that game, Braden Smith fell off. I know he scored a bunch, but I think he had 7 assists to 6 turnovers. That was off. The fouls probably took him out of rhythm, but that's where it's nice to have a guy like Meyer be able to step in and give you a little breath there. That Smith doesn't have to be 100% perfect every game. I think it's a big weapon. The overlooked part, Purdue was very, very, very good. I think Sam, we were saying they were the best team, like, analytically since December, but
if you go through Torvik, ever since the Iowa State loss, they are the number 1 overall efficient team on Torvik. And KenPom, I believe they're 3, maybe 4, which is kind of in line with where they're at on KenPom anyway. But they've been absolutely fantastic on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, the reason they're overlooked, they're not doing it with any flash. There's no superstar freshman, no like the Bansar Cohen Carr soaring through the air and doing tricks and slamming it. It's just very good YMCA style basketball that you can't stop, and they just run the same thing until that you stop it. So it's fantastic to watch. From a basketball standpoint, it's not the most exciting thing in the world, but that's why they're getting overlooked. There's no flash, there's no ESPN highlight kind of thing you're going to see on this team. It's just going to be constant 15 to 20 point wins over and over and over.
Yeah, and speaking of, and we'll just keep this short, sweet, and to the point, and just kill the Purdue segment as quickly as humanly possible on this game. One thing that I'm seeing that's a little concerning, and it was my Christmas wish, oddly enough, is like we're getting off to these fast starts, but we're kind of ending on these slow finishes. And I think what's happening is, they've had a run of 5-6 games now since Iowa State where they've been completely dominant. And it looks like about, 30 minutes into the game after they build a 20-point lead, they are just bored to hell. It's like we've ran our sets and there's nothing you can do about it. So now Smith is chasing some more assists, and like they're trying to get a little fancy on the passes and maybe a couple more lobs and a little careless with the ball. And they're playing with their food a little bit. But then these teams start coming back and they cut it to 11 and 8 and things like that. And then they're like, oh yeah, hold on, here's 3 possessions. We're back up 14. And if we need to rinse, cycle, repeat, we will. But I think this is a ploy for some of the starters to get some additional minutes because they're tired of playing in 28s.
Who knows? Maybe you're right.
Yeah, thanks, Brad. Thanks for listening, and thanks for the comment. So that'll be our first pitch check. So there'll be many more to come. So stay tuned. Maybe yours will be next week. So for the week recap, again, so many places to start, but let's go ahead and start with number 6 Duke at ranked 20th Louisville. Duke wins 84-73.
Look, this game to me, everybody's going to talk about the first half and the letdown of the lead. That's kind of misleading a little bit. Louisville was hitting everything from deep. I mean, you had 5 out of a guy that I think shot 18 threes on the year, and he went 5 for 5 with Khalifa. Like, they were hitting everything, and 4 of those came in the first half. And then all of a sudden in the second half, they went 2 of like 20. The halftime was the worst thing that happened to Louisville because that shot got cold. Even hitting everything they were throwing up, and Duke being not very, very good in the first half, they were only up 9. They weren't putting them away. So I don't know that the Duke win was ever in doubt. But the biggest news out of this was Caleb Foster got aggressive in the second half, and that is
like a light switch.
Yeah, that is dangerous for anybody that's playing Duke now, because now you've got, like this game, you had 3 guys get 20. You know what Boozer's going to give you. Evans seems to have figured it out over the last couple of games. He's shooting well, and then you add Foster into that. That's going to be dirty. And then props to John Shire. It goes into halftime, and I think I saw Evan Maya put this out. Duke is one of the best teams that scores more points and gets a bigger lead in the second half after halftime than any other team. And that's Shire's adjustments. Because Shire goes in. He goes, "Hey, Sar, you're just going to take Cromwell out of the game, right?" And that proceeds to do that. The couple breaths that Cromwell got in the second half, he launched bad threes because he was just frustrated. He could not get any breath. And Sar, it was all over him. And I thought that was that was just like when they went to the 3-2 zone in the second half of the Michigan State game. Michigan State couldn't figure out what to do. That was a game-changing decision. Majority of Sar's minutes came in the second half. I don't know that he came out. He played 26 in the game. And for a young guy to go in and say, okay, I'm not going to try to find my shot. All I'm going to do is play defense here and just take this guy out of the game and do that and do it successfully, is props to him. This is the Duke game team that everybody's talking about at the beginning of the year that had chances to win it all in the Final Four. This is what you wanted to see if you're one of those backers.
Yeah, this Duke game to me was a weather the storm. Going into half, it felt like almost a defeat on Louisville part to only be up 9 playing the way that they did without Michael Brown. And so it was just one of those things where it's just like you watch the halftime report and they're talking about what Louisville was able to do, and you're still like, yeah, but Duke didn't really play that well. And it's still a single-digit game. And then Duke came out and slapped him right back in the mouth for 24 to the point where it's just like you look back up and it was like that 9-point lead evaporated. It was now a 6-point lead for Duke, and Louisville didn't have an answer for anything, and they went cold, and Duke kind of imposed their will, and to your point, the aggression kicked up, and it wasn't just from Boozer. It wasn't, it just felt like a Duke team effort and not a one-man freshman show.
Yeah. That was the first time it felt like a full team there than it was Boozer, and then people were just getting lucky off Boozer. The only downside, if you're a Duke, is it was very sloppy. I think 12 or 14 turnovers came out of that, and this is the second or third game in a row I've seen Boozer with 4 or 5 turnovers. That's a little bit worrisome because the way people are attacking him on defense too, because he doesn't guard anybody. There's still, it's not Duke is perfect. There's easy ways to take advantage of them, but you still got to be good enough to take advantage of them for a full 40 minutes.
Absolutely. 100%.
As that Louisville was able to keep the rebound margin as close as they did.
Because Nagomba was in foul trouble, Brown foul trouble, and they were dragging Boozer out on the 3-point arc because we can't guard. So there was a lot of easy rebounds for him to grab.
Because I remember, is it Sonata Frew? Is that how you say it?
Mm-hmm.
That dude is the slowest. He is just a slow-moving guy. I think Clough might even have him beat. But that's the thing about him. It's just like he just gets smoked. I think he's just very irrelevant. They need a piece by next season to kind of fill in those shoes.
He was effectively a cone on defense, Brad.
What?
He was basically a cone on defense.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So that's the way it was when they played in Knoxville. But yeah, definitely it was an interesting game. Now This next game, Georgia at Florida. Florida wins 90-77. Just a kind of a weird game, to say the least. I feel like there was, I think player of the year for the SEC is, do we ever decide on how to say his name? I hear the announcers say it different too.
I have
I
no
believe
clue.
I thought it was Hoff, but
I
that's
thought it was Hoff as well.
yeah. So
Let's
we'll
go with
just
that.
go with
Let's go
that and
with
be wrong if necessary. I'm gonna say this is gonna sound controversial. One, congrats Florida on a quad 1 win, and two, I don't find this Florida team interesting at all. Like that, I'm impressed with this win, but I just can't decide. Like this Florida team came into the season ranked number 3, and they've obviously been a disappointment so far this year, and they're unranked and all that fun stuff. But they are to me an uninteresting team to watch. And I hate that because SEC basketball is one of my favorite conferences to watch because it's very competitive, and I think it's still going to be. But when I watch Florida, I don't have Florida. Georgia was like watching Pitch Perfect 2 after watching Pitch Perfect in Vandy and Alabama. Like it's just like you're excited because Pitch Perfect was oddly enough a really, really good movie, and I'm sorry I'm plugging a weird sing-songy movie, but it was fantastic.
Full, but okay.
But then Pitch Perfect 2 comes out and it's a turd on a plate, and that's what this Florida team is like to watch play. And I will probably piss some people off saying that, but I just do not find it enjoyable to watch them.
Yeah, they're not my favorite either, but this one, like, this is exactly what I thought would happen. As soon as the guards stepped up and played any decent basketball, not that they scored at all for Florida, they ran away from this Georgia team because this Georgia team is not that good. And I know they were a fun story, and they got ranked, and they've beat a couple of decent teams, but they're not that good. They're easy to take advantage of. They don't play a lot of defense. And Wilkinson was taking care of that game. Nylander had a good game, but I think most of that came in the first half. The second half happened, and Georgia didn't come out of the locker room, and that's why they end up losing by almost 20. I mean, Hoff, whatever we just decided to say his name, I can't remember that far, had a freaking game. I mean, 21, 12, and 5. Also had 4 blocks. Guys having a year. So it's just Georgia had no answer for any of those big guys with Condon or Chinulu either, and that was the whole story of the second half. And it really wasn't fun to watch because, like, even watching the first half, you're like, okay, if Florida does one extra thing, Georgia has no answer. And as soon as that one thing got done, it was Georgia went away and wasn't even really competitive.
And I know Cyril got ejected as he should have been. Freaking idiot.
Yeah.
More.
Like, that was one of the more blatant, punches. And I give it, he tried to cover it up a little bit, but it was right there. So I think that definitely made a difference. I think it made enough to make up for how they played overall.
Well, it just allowed Florida to flex their biggest muscle with their front court anyway. It just took any kind of disadvantage that or any advantage Florida or Georgia had and just gave it all to Florida.
Quick live interruption here. This is Friday night. Indiana playing Oregon and football semis, and it is belt to ass right now. This IU team is looking national title ready right now. Unbelievable. Not in a million years I think we'd see this.
I know.
No, this is bad.
So there was, I think this is another game that was exciting until it wasn't, was the Iowa at Minnesota game. Minnesota wins 70-67. I really was hoping Sturts would hit that shot. He needs to make that shot. That's his shot to make. You got to make those. But still, Iowa was pretty sloppy.
Yeah, I think I'm not even 100% sure if sloppy is the right word here, Brad. Like, this was this complete breakdown on Iowa's part, and I'm starting to question how I feel about this Minnesota team because
3-1.
And let's look at the Purdue game. They were only down 2 at halftime. Now Purdue went full Purdue in the second half and outscored them by damn near 30. And it was just a methodical beatdown for 20 minutes, but that was the last time that they've looked bad. This Minnesota team went in, or they brought Indiana in, beat Indiana. They brought Iowa in, they beat Iowa, and they've stormed the court both times. And IU's got the ball back. Okay.
That game's over. I don't know if it's near halftime yet.
But so it's Minnesota, you guys are beating outside of the top 15 teams. I don't think that's court storm worthy, but I'm happy that you guys are happy. But Minnesota got out rebounded by 11. Iowa shot the ball pretty poorly. Turnover battle was relatively close. It was just like a complete breakdown on Iowa's part. It was sloppy, ugly basketball, and Minnesota just ground them out like they did like when they played Indiana. So I don't think this Minnesota team is the punching bag of the Big Ten, and I apologize for saying that earlier this week.
Well, I mean, Medvedev is an incredible coach. He was great at Colorado State. I believe that's where he came from. I thought that was a fantastic hire. I didn't expect to see these kind of results in this first year, but I mean, they're fighting with USC right now. I mean, doing that, if they pull that out, they're a game out of first in the Big Ten. They had that bad stretch there where they lost 3 in a row all out west with San Francisco, Sanford, and Santa Clara. But you can't get mad at them for losing to Purdue and big because I mean they weren't expected to be anywhere near that game. But
Right.
they've actually handled business since then, and like there's a good chance that they win tonight and then win with Wisconsin, and then they're going to Illinois with a lot of momentum. I don't know. This Minnesota team I think is dangerous. I mean, Iowa, where are you outside of Sturts? I mean, you've got 3 starters that are not doing anything good for you, really, and especially Manuel or however you say his name. You got one guy off the bench of value, but other than that, like I don't like this Iowa team right now, and it's to start like I don't know. I was never a fan of them, but in the beginning because I thought the leap from being a mid-major to going through a conference like the Big Ten, especially as good as the Big Ten will be this year, was going to be a lot for all the Drake players. And I think that's showing. I think you are seeing a lot that they don't have as much as I thought they did, and it's going to be, I think, a rough run for them. I think they'll be like 500 in the Big Ten and very mid in the Big Ten and probably miss the tournament is where I'm seeing this Iowa team.
I still think they're going to get an at-large, but I think you're right. They're going to be a mid-team. They've got some chances, though. They go into Mackey next week. That's going to be a buzzsaw game, but I feel like this is a slip opportunity for Purdue, and it would be a get-right game for Iowa. This is going to be 2 of the best point guards in the country going head-to-head. They won't guard each other. Sturts might guard Smith. CJ Cox is like, they call it the satchel, CJ's satchel, who's like matched up against some of these elite point guards and has kind of put him in his little bag because his on-ball defense is absolutely insane. And then Jakari Harris is his direct backup, and he's playing an incredible defense as well. So I think they're going to have a plan for Sturts. I don't know what Iowa does about the rest of Purdue, because if the number 1 efficient offense in the country is playing against this defense, I pray for the fans. But again, this could be a slip opportunity for Purdue.
If it was at Iowa, I think I'd be a little more worried there. But like the thing is, even if you really can't take Smith out of the game. You can keep him from scoring, it's fine. But the way he sees the floor and runs that offense, like he doesn't have to have a direct scoring impact to make that team. And it's so hard to guard somebody from passing the ball. Like you can keep them from getting the ball, you can keep them from scoring, and you can make them inefficient shooting, but make like that's depending on 4 other guys to be playing great defense all at the same time, and that's just not going to happen in this Iowa team.
So I watched, again, going back to Purdue, I'll just try to keep this real quick. To that point, what Smith is able to do to defenses should be studied, because like he'll have duds. He'll have games where he turns the ball over and he can't seem to make good decisions, but 98% of the time, like he gets the ball exactly where he wants to get it, and he makes the defense make a decision. Like Washington was giving him shots, so he took shots.
Yeah.
When Washington pressed up, he was doing pocket passes or short rolls, and when they started hedging on those, guess he was finding 3-point shooters. Now we weren't hitting shots, but it's incredible to watch him play versus Sturts. Sturts is just a pure shooter and a pure scorer. He's not a pure point guard, but he's still one of the best because of the way he can put the ball in the net. So Moving on.
Is a shooter that plays point guard more than anything. That's not his. He just needs to shoot the ball and score, which he didn't do, and they needed him to do that the most. And he had the prime opportunity, but anyway, we've already addressed that. Now, this was a wonderful game, but Texas at Tennessee. Tennessee winning 85-71, but I don't think Nate Ament ever showed up. I don't think he dressed. I don't think he was there. I don't think he's been here all season. Someone stole Nate Ament. Please bring him back, because he's never been here. This is an imposter.
I thought this was a game to get him going, and he started off great.
we're right at him.
And I was
Right
like,
now.
okay, here we go. We're finally going to see it. And then where did he go? Half his points came for the free throw line. At least we went 4 or 5 there, so improved. But he still had 5 turnovers. Gillespie, though, put on a show. There was nothing Texas could do about it, and it was fantastic to watch. But seeing Estrella snap back, I mean, he may have gotten away with murder a few times underneath the basket that if I was Miller, I'd be going nuts about. But Jalen Carey played well. Evans played well. Like Dwayne Brown, that was the best I've seen him and the most aggressive I've seen him. And I liked what I saw.
Really liked what I saw. I think there's something there.
Yeah.
I'm excited. He's who I'm most excited to see tomorrow.
Yep. Yeah. And I mean, we weren't the best taking care of the ball, but if you take Nate Ament out, we are looking at 8 turnovers instead of 13, and that's really good. But we also go to 8 steals instead of 12 if you take him out. It's just I'm still not comfortable with this Tennessee team. Really, if Gillespie doesn't have a fantastic night, this is a really different game. And we were up 20 and let Texas bring it back to inside 10. I think it got as close to as 7. Camden Heide, man, couldn't. He was seeing a rim that was 5 times the size of what it should have been. He was hot shooting. But man, Texas,
They're
not
lost.
very good.
They're lost. Their coach is panicking.
Yeah.
It's so evident.
Okay, so I don't know
Lexington
if y'all caught this at the end of last year with Xavier, but he almost gave up on Xavier in the play-in game when they were playing Texas and was surprised that they came back. And that was his quote, something along those lines. He said, "Oh, we're in this. Oh, okay." Well, and so you can't let that come out of your mouth of your coaching because he's probably pulling the plug early on games. I mean, Volkalitis is a very good player, but he can't stay on the floor with anybody that plays physical. So I don't know where Texas is going to go in the SEC. I think they made a mistake in a hire. I've never really been a big fan of Miller, any of his stops. I think they panicked hired and got rid of. I wasn't a big fan of Terry either, but I think they panic fired him, then panic hired Miller, and who knows what's going to happen. I mean, that's a football school through and through. They've never really cared about basketball, even when Durant was there. And TJ Ford, they were going to the Final Four. You're never outshine the football team. You'll never get the money, and it's going to show.
And I will give some credit to the TV crew. They did not harp on the whole Barnes being from Texas, coaching in Texas, all that stuff. They did not harp in on it as much as I thought. I was pleasantly surprised.
But they did talk about Vandy an awful lot for a game Vandy wasn't in.
That's exactly what I was about to say. They couldn't wait to talk about Vandy.
Oh my God, yeah.
Which we're going to get to that here in just a second. But yeah, I'm excited for the Tennessee Florida game. I think that'll be very interesting to see how both teams respond. We'll get to that game in a moment. Yes, but yeah. So for the Tennessee Texas game, Tennessee needed this win, needed a solid win. I think Gillespie, again, everything hinges on him. The weight of this team falls on his shoulders. Hell of a game. But Estrella, I think, is kind of does those little things that maybe doesn't show up all the time in the stat line, but kind of runs through our offense and really our defense too. But anyway, any more comments on that game?
I got one. The mention of Texas cutting this game back, saw a lot of the same thing, for several of the top teams. They got a good lead and they got bored. Just going to put this on notice to all of our favorite teams and all of these power conference teams. Your leads are not safe. Don't get bored. For the love of God, don't get bored. Don't get complacent. If you got your foot on their throat, fucking crush it. Don't do this play around with your food stuff because this could have cost Tennessee, this could have cost Purdue, it could have cost UConn playing Providence, which actually went the other way. But we'll talk more about these in a little bit. Just stop playing with your food.
Yes, please. Because Tennessee does not have the offense to flip a switch and get back. Purdue can do that. Tennessee.
Do we want to jump down to the Alabama Vanderbilt?
We might as well.
Well, I did I not have that on here at all? Am I an idiot?
Yeah,
you do.
Oh,
it's on here.
Okay, yeah, because we can move Northwestern Michigan State can be moved to something we just do one sentence with, and same with Iowa State Baylor, and Texas A&M and Auburn. Those 3 in the middle, we can just move those to the other section. That's just real quick.
Okay, all right. So now I think this game is going to tell us a lot, really about both teams. But it's number 13 Alabama at number 11 Vanderbilt. playing in the worst basketball arena in the country for this level. It is the most infuriating. I cannot stand it. But Vandy wins 96-90. And they actually just added another foul to the box score for that game. That game took forever.
Yeah, so there were
88 free throws. 88.
Yeah, say what?
88 total free throws in this game.
That's ridiculous.
So also 74 fouls. Hold on, let me read that back. 74 fouls.
Unbelievable.
74 fouls.
I can't even remember a game that had that many.
Tennessee and Purdue and Maui with 80.
Oh my God.
That's
They
right.
couldn't breathe on somebody without it being a foul. And at least we got the rematch later that year in the Elite Eight. That first game was like nobody knew anything about those two teams because all you know is 2 steps, there's a whistle, and now we're shooting free throws. That was all we knew. But
Yeah, it was
back to the game that matters. Alabama. I don't know what's going weird with this team. I mean, it looked like half the guards were uninterested in the second half, and then you've got Nate Oates coming out talking about Phylon was saying full body cramps and saying he played 19 minutes. How could he be cramping it? Like why they received as his best player under the bus, who was having a decent night, like because he still finished with 20. Like I mean, and I don't understand. Allen showed up. This was a really good game for him. Did a lot of work from the free throw line, but the thing you got to come away with most impressive of this game is Tyler Tanner. That guy put on a show, and when it was close is when he was out with foul trouble. As soon as he's back, that game is not. It feels a lot more under control for Vanderbilt, and I kept hoping and praying the metrics were just kind of like BSing us a bit, and that this Vandy team wasn't real. I don't see that now. This team is real as real can be. I don't know if I'm ready to put them in like Final Four contender or championship contender because you got teams like Arizona and Michigan and Iowa State out there, but they're knocking on the door. I mean, like you've got guys like Nickel and Duke Miles that are instant offense when they want to be. Okereke and McLaughlin really cover the lane, and they're bringing guys off the bench. Like Tyler Harris is a shooter. It's not gone well for him this year yet, but that guy can absolutely light it up. And I mean, he played 20 minutes that night, and you had 4 guys off the bench playing 15 plus minutes that did a little bit of damage, did a little bit of everything. And Alabama was searching for answers the whole time. And I know Sherrell didn't play, but I'm not sure how much of a difference he makes in this game. Like, this was a fantastic game to watch, but I mean, they played up close to Alabama's preferred speed, and Vanderbilt took care of the ball better than Alabama did. They've had eight turnovers, and they created 9 steals. They outdid Alabama every which way you could possibly do. Alabama. I mean, I know they got out-rebounded by a bunch, but I don't. That obviously didn't matter too much.
Right. I think this came down to, and I hate to say it, the home court at Vandy. It was ruckus in that building.
Oh yeah.
I think it sounded like what Alabama wants their home games to sound like. I cannot stand watching basketball on that god awful court. Jeez, nothing's gone right for Oregon. Anyway, but yeah, I felt like this is a statement win for Vandy. This kind of justifies them being on the map right now. I mean, in a lot of people's power rankings and 25-1s and things like that, Vandy is now in like the top 6. I don't think I have them there yet, but like it's just like, this is a statement win. This is a monster win. This is as big as what Purdue did when they went into Tuscaloosa. I'd liken this to the same thing. This is a statement win for this team that I mean, they're going to be a contender for the SEC title, and they're not going to be a team that anybody wants to see come tournament time if they keep playing like this. And to your point, Jake, Tanner was the one who stepped up. And like, what was it last week? It was Nickel, and you're kind of getting punches and bunches from several of these guys that they're to me, they're a fun team to watch. And I was borderline rooting for Alabama in this game just for resume purposes, but you got to put respect on their name now.
I mean, yeah, kudos to Mark Byington for putting together the squad and what they're able to produce right now. He is something else.
I mean, Tanner really didn't have that great of a first half. I mean, he spent some time in foul trouble, but Duke Miles scores 17 of his 19 in the first half and then disappears in the second half. And you think if your leading scorer meets his average in the first half, you're going to be doing great, and then he disappears. If that happens to 99% of other teams, you're in trouble if your leading scorer just disappears for 20 minutes. But not Vandy. I mean, and McLaughlin doesn't get enough love. He is like, I know we got Gary, and I'm so happy we got Gary, but I was hoping it was McLaughlin we would get out of that. He's a little more of a I don't know. I just like him. I like his name. I mean, 10 and 12, and the guy doesn't need the ball. He doesn't ask for the ball. Doesn't demand the ball. He just does his work and he's undersized. He reminds me of a lot of like a Zach Randolph type character. I'm having a hard time finding arguments to keep Vandy out of the top 5. It's frustrating. Also, to point out, for a game that had 88 free throws, both teams nailed them. I'm shooting 70 plus, both teams.
Alabama missed some key ones down the stretch when they got the wrong guy at the free throw line, but yeah, they were both relatively consistent from the free throw line, and especially when it mattered. Vandy was hitting theirs.
Yeah, but it's scared. And the thing is, Vandy's going to have a stranglehold on first place in the SEC because their schedule coming up is not that difficult. They've got LSU next, and then I think it's like South Carolina, and they don't play really anybody. Well, it goes LSU at Texas, then Florida. So they've got probably 2 more games before they're really tested again. So they're going to be 4-5-0, 4-0 in the SEC. And that's going to be hard to come. Like, that's a hard lead to overtake unless they just totally drop the ball somewhere. But
yeah, I think I called that, or I made a note that their next test is Arkansas.
Yeah.
But I want to see. I think Tyler Tanner versus Gillespie is going to be something to watch.
Oh, it's going to be fantastic.
I think
Tanner's more of a pure point guard than Gillespie is, but
yeah, I agree.
It'll be fantastic to watch it. For the life of me, I cannot figure out what Nate Oates was so mad about that he got that technical and almost got tossed.
Mm-hmm.
The officiating was horrendous all game. It was inconsistent, and it was so hard to figure out. But what was it at that moment that set him off? I don't know. It seems like he was more frustrated with his team and what was going on with Phylon and stuff than it was the actual game. And it felt like he way overreacted, and I don't know. That technical foul felt weird. And I've seen ones that like where the coach is just trying to he's begging for a tee to motivate his team, and it didn't feel like that. It felt like he was just needed a stress ball to squeeze.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you who else is real quick is Braylon Mullins is moving up his relevance. He is UConn at Providence. Gonna squeak this one out here. Beating Providence 103-98 in overtime.
Look, we're gonna tag this so that I make sure my coworker sees the minute we start talking about Braylon Mullins, because Braylon Mullins has arrived. In the first half, I felt like he might have been rushing his shot a little bit, and credit to this Providence team for 38 minutes. We're the better team. And then UConn, I think, Hurley called timeout and reminded his team that, hey, yeah, you're UConn. Oh, yeah. Braylon Mullins, you're a freshman. Time to clutch it up. Guess what? Braylon Mullins, a freshman, clutched it up. Hit some big shots in big moments. The offensive sets that UConn were running were just absolutely shredding this Providence defense. Only in the last 2 minutes of the game, and then all of overtime. Like, it was just like they held something back the entire game almost. But this came down to the better team won because they showed up in the big moment. Providence was more playing not to lose, whereas UConn was playing to win. And that's always going to be a recipe for disaster. You cannot play to protect your lead. You have to step on their throats. And we mentioned that earlier. But all credit in the world to this Braylon Mullins kid. I've followed him since he was in Greenfield, Indiana, playing for a small high school basketball team that did big things up until sectionals, and unfortunately they got knocked off, namely by Mount Vernon and Luke Ertl, who's a Purdue commit next year. So boy, they're up there. But the shots he hit at the end of regulation, the shots he hit in overtime, absolute daggers, absolute clutched it up. This UConn team is getting production from everywhere. 4 guys in the starting lineup with 20 plus points. Absolutely fantastic. Again, last 2 minutes of the regulation and all of overtime.
Like Braylon Mullins, all the credit to him. Fantastic game, shooting lights out. Still some struggles on defenses, some bad fouls. If he gets that squared away, the kid will be a
Mm-hmm.
kid might be looking at All-American. But some love needs to go to Silas Dimmer here.
Yes.
Georgia is missing him big time. 23 points, 15 assists, 5 steals, and 1 turnover. A 15-1 assist to turnover ratio. That isn't made all his free throws. I mean, he was absolutely critical, and he will be absolutely critical games like this for him all year, like the rest of the year, because solo ball is just not having the year anybody thought he would. He's just not shooting the ball that well, and when he's not shooting well, the rest of his game it's not like he had a great defense and all that behind him. It was like his jump shot makes him a lot bigger of a threat, because then you have to guard him way out, which opens an offense, and the defense becomes tough. But Demery and Mullins are going to play like that. And then, I mean, which Carabin, and I think I remember hearing this on the broadcast. I don't remember the last time Carabin missed a big shot. Who knows? I don't know when it was, but anytime it's like as the game gets closer and the time gets shorter, dude just has a more perfect shot. And they're not like great shots he's taking. He just makes big shots, but not to be all over UConn all the way. There's zero production on that bench. There's nothing. And that's scary. Not for the Big East. I mean, they're going to be fine. Big East. That would be scary for me come tournament time. If foul trouble happens, you get different refs. Mullins and Reed were in foul trouble, and a big part of when Providence was winning and stuff, they were able to go to their big guys because Reed wasn't there, and Stewart is not that great down low. It's just shocking to me that they couldn't find a sixth guy there. Like Malachi Smith, 4 minutes, Eric Rebe, 8 minutes, Ross, 1 minute. So outside of Stewart, they had 13 minutes off the bench. Mullins and Emory played 41 each.
Yeah, and Stewart was getting a lot of balls minutes too. That's the crazy part was you look at their starting lineup, Caravan 41 minutes, 40 minutes, or 37 minutes, Mullins 41, Demery 41, and then solo ball 25. And he was still productive. He wasn't shooting the ball particularly great. It was like roughly 30% from the floor. But I mean, like, to your point, Jake, like their starters were absolutely fantastic. 23, 20, 24, 23, 10. They got 3 points from the bench. That's not gonna win you some big matchups. That's not gonna beat your top of the Big Ten, top of the SEC, top of the Big 12 teams. So that needs to get figured out. But this UConn team has been nothing short of impressive all year. They handle business in the net. They're got 1 asterisk loss to Arizona. They're not going to have any issues with the Big East. This is a number 1 seed all over.
Yeah. Like this was they can't trip up because their resume is not going to get any better.
No.
But one thing I do want to bring up with Providence, the last 3 minutes at overtime, I feel like Kim English dropped the ball a bit.
He did. I hate that.
He couldn't get anything he couldn't do anything to help his team. Like, he was wasting timeouts. He's looking at assistants at times to tell him if he should foul or not. And by the time he gets a decision, too much time had run off the clock, so it didn't matter what the decision was. Stuff like that. Because if you're Providence and you're a bubble team at best, your recipe to upset a top 5 team is you nail the 3 ball. Well, they made 14 and shot almost 60%. You make your free throws. They shoot almost 75% from there, but they turn the ball over 17 times and are still in this game. And you needed something like your coach to settle you down a little bit, time those timeouts correctly, and get the right moves going. And I felt like English was, he's a young coach. I think 4th year head coach, maybe overall. Like, he's got some learning to do, and this will be a big learning thing. I think he's going to go back and watch the film on this and really feel like he missed a lot.
I will note this in this game in overtime. Mullins burnt them twice in a row. He had some big threes, big clutched up threes, and there was absolutely no defensive adjustment. And then when they finally they called timeout, made a defensive adjustment, it was 100% the wrong adjustment, because they overcommitted on Mullins, and then Terrace Reed wide open for 2, and it just put the game out of reach. Watch the video on the sets that they ran for those. I mean, it was just brilliant basketball. It was an out coaching clinic.
And which is fair. Like, I mean, there's 10 coaches out there in NCAA that wouldn't get completely outclassed by Hurley.
Yeah.
So it's a learning experience for him. And I mean, we'll talk about this later, but he doesn't have the amount of experience that Jamie Dixon at TCU had, and absolutely screwed it up for his team. So
Sorry, I was making an adjustment there.
Mhm.
So yeah, no, that was a wild game. Yeah, and Braylon Mullins, same you talked about when I think it was you or one of you, obviously, because it's all you two that were mentioning that. That Braylon Mullins, when he gets comfortable, you can almost there is a switch. It's like he gets into the zone, and it's very visible.
Yeah.
It's very evident. There's no hiding it. It's like when you see that look, it's like, oh, here he goes. It's about to happen. It's like he has a tell.
He's one of those guys that it's starting to feel he's numb to the situations.
Mm-hmm.
The lights aren't bright.
No.
There might as well be 30 minutes left in the game. He's shooting the shots like he's running drills. It's very relaxed. It's very comfortable. It's that intangible that you cannot teach freshmen. And look, this is an incredible freshman class. I don't think the country should be sleeping on this Braylon Mullins kid when we're talking about the top freshmen, because obviously you got Peterson, you got Michael Brown, you got Ament, you got Caleb Wilson, Debansa, Boozer, you got all these enormous names. Keep Mullins on the radar because he is silently starting to pick these teams apart. He's silently getting this confidence and he's staying completely under the radar while doing it. Obviously, this is he's arrived game because it was in a moment where it was absolutely needed. This kid's getting comfortable, and that's dangerous for the Big East. That's dangerous for the rest of the country.
Well, I mean, he didn't get a non-conference really. Like when Boozer and Pete and Brown and all the, I want to say lesser ranked, but they weren't the three big names in the men. When they were making their names, that was all November, early December when Mullins was hurt. So like he's been able to do that now, and like it's something that doesn't get enough talk credit for how it helps freshmen like Mullins and stuff. It's having a couple guys like Demery and Reed out there that allow him to not have the pressure to carry a team, because I think you see that on some of these like you get 17, maybe 19-year-old kids that they're incredibly talented and are going to be the best player on almost any team they play on, are asking to carry these teams. But when you have guys like that can allow, especially a shooter like him, allow the pressure to not be there, man, that zone gets bigger and bigger and easier to hit. And you're going to see a lot more games like this out of Mullins because the pressure isn't on him to like make sure UConn wins that game. That pressure is more sitting on Reed and Demery, and then he's able to help out. And so it allows him to play free basketball. It's a beautiful thing to watch when he's going.
Yep,
For
absolutely.
sure. So I want to run through and kind of hit a few of the remaining games here. If there's anything that really sticks out, we can kind of follow up with those. But Arizona destroys Kansas State 101-76. BYU.
Same shit, same different day, right? With Arizona. So it's just
Arizona's just coming in and handling business and letting Michigan get all the attention, which I think is what Arizona wants right now.
Do we think the AP poll will spread out a little bit after it got so close after Michigan's debacle, we'll say?
Yeah, we'll wait till the deep dive before we piss off Blue Nation here because you can't mention when they look mortal.
That's right.
And of course, if we mention Penn State, we're not paying attention. Well, I was paying attention on that game, and Penn State made you look mortal. Check your boys on the sleepers because last I checked, Greg is a huge Michigan fan, and he's got a little worry. So, yeah, keep teams that slow the game down on your radar. Cough, cough, Michigan State. Cough, cough, Purdue. You're going to get that figured out. Now, come back here in a month, and Michigan dog walks both these teams, then we'll be like, yeah, okay. Not shocked. Arizona fans, by the way, you guys are handling business. I still owe you guys a shirt. Give me time. I've got one on layaway on Amazon right now. So I thought my TJ McConnell jersey would suffice, but woe is me.
And then we've got BYU absolutely waxed Arizona State 104-76. And then Arkansas beats Ole Miss.
That dunk from Debansa. Whoa.
Oh, dude, yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to send that to y'all to make sure y'all saw that.
Yeah. We all saw it 158 times.
Yeah.
Hey, remarkable of how well BYU does when they play well in the first half. They don't have to spend 20 minutes clawing back and justifying their existence in the top 10.
And then Arkansas Ole Miss, that game was, but I don't know if it was just me, but the camera angle in Ole Miss felt like I was in like the next town over trying to watch this game, and that was very disappointing. And then I feel like the announcers felt like that too, because they couldn't be more bored to call that game.
I felt like they filmed that game from where I sat for the Final Four in Arizona in a football stadium. Like, I was just like, what the fuck is going on down there?
I think they're playing basketball. I think they're playing.
Yeah. No, there's at least 12 people on the floor.
Then we had Virginia slams California 84-60.
Maybe the Virginia Tech game will come back up because
Maybe so.
Still do not like watching this Virginia. I didn't watch this game. I probably won't watch Virginia again this year unless they become interesting. And I apologize. That's not how I should be handling college basketball because I like it all. I just do not like watching this Virginia team. They are uninteresting to me.
Totally agree with that. Clemson beats SMU 74-70.
I
Good win
like-
for Clemson.
late 3 heartbreak.
Yeah.
I think the line was 4.5 for anybody that was a Clemson backer. That late pointless 3 takes it from 7 to 4.
That one will get you. And then Indiana blows out Maryland on the road 84-66.
Yeah. So I have not figured out this Indiana team. They are playing actually pretty good basketball right now. I mean, they 40-piece Penn State. And then they lose to Minnesota, but Minnesota might not be bad. So I don't know. This Indiana team's a little bit intriguing to me. I've not given up on them. I cannot have them be good right now, though, with their football team doing what they're doing.
They can't have both. You can't have
That
both.
fan base is going to be insufferable, and I just cannot. I cannot, as a Purdue fan, live with that.
Then we had Northwestern at Michigan State. Michigan State wins that one 76-66.
Michigan State didn't deserve that. Northwestern has
Breslin Magic.
zero talent on that team. Saw it live, saw it there. There's zero talent, but Michigan
They
State.
find ways to win.
Yeah, but
Between Izzo and Breslin, they got some magic there.
they didn't deserve that one.
And then Texas A&M at Auburn. Texas A&M wins 90-88. When it first happened, I thought they got robbed.
Did they win?
Yeah, it goes in the wing on the court in the book, so you gotta say it.
Yeah.
I don't know. If I'm a ref, I don't know what I think after I've watched it 7,000 times. I think they got it right, but
I think they got it right, but that's one of the closest I've seen.
I've not seen anything closer than that.
It was really, really close.
Just
I think they made the right call.
nothing can go right for Stephen Pearl right now.
No,
No.
kind of like Oregon football, that is.
And basketball. They
True, and basketball. Yeah.
Yeah. Oregon lost to Rutgers. Yeah, they lost in overtime to Rutgers. I'm 99.9% sure.
Either way, you shouldn't be in overtime with Warriors.
You know what? I've been 99.9% wrong before. So give me 1 second.
I mentioned this Iowa State at Baylor as well. Iowa State wins 70-60.
Baylor feels unfortunate right now. They are a good team that can't come out on the right side of things, and I don't see it changing too much because it's Big 12's too good, and you've got to be really good to win those games. And because I mean, they were ahead of Iowa State for a while, but then Iowa State turns it on, and Lipsy needs some more love. Like I saw this top point guard list come out, and they left him off of it.
That's where he was.
Just because you bring the ball up the floor does not make you a point guard. He is probably the number 2 point guard right behind Smith, right? Like for true point guard. Like
Yeah, I agree.
guys like Fallon and Pettiford and that style, like even Gillespie, those guys are they're scorers that happen to bring the ball up the court. Lipsy needs some more love as a true point guard, and I don't know why people are not wanting to give it to him.
Rutgers did win in overtime 88-85. Bad loss. I don't know, because this Oregon team might be really, really, really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And they were pretty high praise both preseason. I don't think we liked them, but
Oh, I did. I'm aware of that one. Yep.
the country sure loved them, and they are not meeting expectations. It's in your review time, and you're not getting your bonus, bud.
Mm-mm.
That's a pip if I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
Which is sad for a lot of reasons. He's had some success, but not a huge splash. Speaking of no splash, because it's all flat, is Missouri beating Kentucky 73-68. We've already talked about this till we're blue in the face.
Kentucky sucks.
You're all not.
Gave up a 15-2 run in the last 3 minutes of the game.
Sure did.
To lose that 15-2 at home.
I want to remind anybody who tunes in and watches this how hard Kentucky celebrated an exhibition win against then number 1 Purdue. When Purdue didn't give a shit, Kentucky acted like they won the Super Bowl, and now Kentucky is on the wrong side of the bubble. Just wrap that around your head. A $22 million roster is on the wrong side of the bubble right now.
Fan base is
Ooh-wee.
too.
And then we got to mention that Western Michigan at Miami of Ohio wins again, 87-76.
And they won again tonight. I think they're 16-0.
That's awesome.
They are a fun story right now.
They are.
I mean, like, I know Gonzaga is technically a mid-major because of the conference they play on, but I don't think anybody really counts them. This might be the best major out there. I mean, there's an argument for St. Louis. St. Louis is playing really well right now, but this Miami Ohio team is fantastic. They weren't even picked to win their conference at the beginning of the year. That was like Akron and I think Bowling Green were up there. And I mean, they went and laid it to Toledo at Toledo tonight. This team is fantastic and worth a watch on these Friday nights where the slate is kind of crappy. Search and find the Miami Ohio team.
Great opportunity to go sicko mode and watch the mid majors shine on a Friday night. Mid-January.
And Jake, you made a little bit of money off of.
Yeah. I threw that out there in the socials this year. That for some reason they closed with plus money on the money line, and I thought that was the easiest money to grab off the board. So I laid a big chunk on that and more than doubled my money. So I felt good. Feels good right now.
Gotta love it. As we kind of dive into the deep dive, we've got Michigan at Penn State. Michigan wins 74-72. Holy smokes. We've already had this one teed up for the entire podcast.
On the ropes.
Unbelievable.
Michigan was on the ropes.
Penn State should have won that game.
Yes, they had an opportunity to win. That was maybe one of the worst final possessions I've ever seen a basketball team have, given how well they played against the number one efficient team we've seen in a long time. But horrible last possession, but what an incredible fight and battle by this Penn State basketball team. And again, Michigan fans, earmuffs, y'all look mortal. So we said it about Wake Forest, we said it about TCU, and the feedback that we got from you folks was that we didn't know what we were talking about because we mentioned a team that was still sorting it out. I'm interested in what you have to say about this. What I'm going to say is you had a bad game. That is okay. Teams have bad games. You got a gritty win. Congratulations. But y'all look mortal, and we all saw what happens when a team can slow down Michigan. It makes them vulnerable, and right now this is a weakness on this Michigan team. This is a chink in the armor. It is a very thick armor. It is a very robust armor, but it is a chink nonetheless, and it's just definitely something to kind of keep your eye on, because again, you go into these schools that can slow the game down, or God forbid, keep pace with you. The Illinois is going to be really interesting. Michigan State is going to be really interesting. Purdue is going to be really interesting. So
Nebraska might be.
Yeah. Nebraska is going to be interesting for everybody. Nebraska is, to me, is the most terrifying team in the Big Ten because you almost expect to beat them, but you're not gonna. So I don't think things are as crystal clear as they were a week ago. But it could be polished. I mean, it could clean right back up. Michigan could go back on the offensive and start blowing teams out by 30 again. But this Penn State, this should have been a funeral. And instead, it was a barn burner.
I mean, look, it is not shooting the ball well from deep in the last few games.
But you can't mention that.
No. And their offense in the half court is struggling a bit.
But you can't mention that.
Yeah. And then when Mara spends a lot of night in foul trouble, and Morez, like their big guys are getting put in foul trouble because they're having to play in the half court. It opens up a little bit. I mean, we've said, Michigan fans, yep, you saw it, you won. It's good to win these close games because that's why you want to play in these big conferences, because there's going to be games like that in March when it matters, and you want to know that you can do it. I want to talk about Penn State. Like, nobody gave them a chance. I think it was a 22-point line for
22.5
at Penn State. That's brutal, having a conference opponent come to your house and be favored like to blow you out. This Happy Valley, they may have found something here. I mean, because their best scorer got hurt, I think, and didn't play a lot of the game. And I think it's their best scorer. I mean, Dion played extremely well, especially he had the weird last possession that was just garbage. But I put that more on Rhodes calling his last timeout in the backcourt and not getting it up to the half court and then drawing it up. Like I think that was more Rhodes with a He was at Tennessee. He played a little bit, but that's his first meaningful minutes at a big game. And you had the ball in his hand where he just dribbled it out. I don't put too much of that on him. Happy Valley might be a tough place like a tough out. The game before this, they lose to 8 by Illinois.
Yeah.
And now they played Michigan to 2. Like, that's 2 major teams in the Big Ten that they've just played very tight games at home. So maybe going to Penn State isn't such a give me anymore. We'll see what they do on the road, but
yeah, they're in Mackey on Saturday. So I don't think this is a game Purdue sleeps on. I think this Penn State's starting to click a little bit. I mean, like I said, they got 40-piece by Indiana, and you thought they were dead in the water, and here they are hanging tough with the top Big Ten team. So see what happens on Saturday, but this is not a game that Purdue should be sleeping on.
I honestly think that they're going to be pretty beat up. I mean, this is going from Illinois to Michigan and then to Purdue. That's a gauntlet stretch there for Penn State.
For sure.
And now this is the game I've been most excited to kind of hear your all's takes on it. I had so much fun watching it. There's number 14 Texas Tech at number 7 Houston. Houston wins 65.
I feel like Texas Tech lost this game.
Yeah.
I completely agree. And I said something like that on Twitter, and I said they looked messy or they were a mess. And they play messy. And if all they had to do, if they would just polish themselves a little bit, they would not be, I mean, they would be a one-loss team, potentially. Just a one-loss team.
14 turnovers in a game that barely scored 130 points is a lot. Is this a result of the transfer portal that we're seeing, like teams like UConn and Houston and Texas Tech have 0 bench? I mean,
no bench.
Combined 2 bench points on this game.
He said it.
Yeah.
Bench points.
Yeah. There was combined 2 of them. But really, the story of this game was Kingston Fleming's just took over. The last 2 minutes of that game, absolutely said, we're not losing. This is mine. I've got this, and just took over. It was fantastic to watch, and Texas Tech was doing everything they could. I have a lot of respect for Grant McCaslin, especially when he goes on defense, and he couldn't figure out Fleming's in that last couple of minutes. It was unbelievable.
No, I don't think anybody could.
That was just dagger shot after dagger shot after dagger shot.
Texas Tech, I think this has been symptomatic of their big losses. They've had teams where they just need a kill shot and they don't get it. They just don't get the right bucket at the right time. They get the wrong turnover. They get top into the free throw line and it doesn't ever compute. You know, he gets a good look and he short arms it or something like that. They're just not getting the ball to break their way. But in this game, they had, I think there was like a 6-point lead with a couple minutes left. And it was like, I think we texted and I was like, it's like Texas Tech's going to blow this game. And sure enough, it just manifested. Feel for them because I feel like they've I mean, outside of the getting 30-piece by Purdue, they have looked good all year. They have never really looked bad. They just had bad moments. And again, not a team you want to have a bad moment on against this Houston team because they will take advantage of every opportunity they get. They're alligator blood. They don't go away. This was at Houston. Big win for Houston, but again, this is a blown opportunity for this Texas Tech team that could have done something real big here.
We asked Sinek to show up offensively, and he put up double digits. He put 11-11 up, so we asked him to start showing up, and there he is. But, I mean, he's getting outshined by Fleming. There's nothing he can do right now. That's Fleming's team.
It really is. And then that block, though, that was nasty. That one's going to stick with me, I think, all season. Pretty incredible. And it seems like a great kid, too. I don't know if y'all heard his interview on Field of 68, the After Dark show, one of their shows, and he was on there and was fantastic. Just a great interview. Just a great kid. So you always like to hear that and see that. TCU at Kansas. TCU does it again. Kansas wins 104-100 in overtime.
This needs to be investigated.
Like, the last 3 minutes of that game in overtime, that should almost be fireable for Jamie Dixon. I've never seen a coach mismanage, especially of experience like Jamie Dixon, mismanage the last, like, unreal, could not use. He had 2 timeouts in his pocket and wouldn't use them to help settle his team down, as you could see the panic driving in. And your best player and your best offensive threat, the big guy, I can't remember his name right now. You can't use a timeout to let him get his cramps under control in the last couple of minutes when you're trying to run your offense through him. Like, this is basic stuff that high school coaches know. And it's like everything about that game, every stat you can think of, every stat you can look at besides free throw attempts, really, it says TCU should win that game, and they lose. They had more shots, more threes, more rebounds, more assists, more blocks. more offensive board and only 3 extra turnovers. Like, everything says TCU, and they can't pull it out because it was one of the most unexcusable losses. Like,
Yeah.
just in overtime, you got them to miss the free throw after you hit the 3 with a 2-point game. All you have to do is inbound it and with plenty of time to score. And I can't think of his name either. Tries to throw it in one-handed when it's covered and turns it over immediately. You foul Darren Peterson for 3 free throws, like, to tie the game at the end. Like I said, this is unexcusable loss for TCU. And if I was a TCU fan, I would never get over it. This season would be colored by this whole game right here. It doesn't matter what we do good, unless we won the Big 12 and went to the Sweet 16. The whole season is colored by this game right here.
Yeah, and TCU's, again, you just mentioned it, 2 big wins that they could have had on their resume just squandered away.
Massive wins they should have had.
Also, I thought with Darren Peterson, they had a turnover, the ball goes right past him out of bounds, and then he starts waving for him to come out.
He was waiting for himself to come out while the ball was being thrown to him.
Yeah.
But you can't get that out of him. He puts up 30-plus points in 30 minutes and hits the 3 clutch free throws that send you to overtime. But something weird is happening there. Like, he's not all the way bought in. There's no way.
No, not at all. And then didn't overtime. Oh, it just feels weird, feels icky. Kansas fans, we need a Kansas fan. I know they probably hate us. But if you're out there, let us know. I want to hear a take from a fan. This has been the first. I don't know. This isn't the first time we've asked for this. Please, folks, give us your opinion on the Darren Peterson situation if you're a Kansas fan. I'm just very curious. I want to hear from a.
Give us your opinion on the team.
Yeah.
And like, how do you guys feel? Like, not a lot to be optimistic about, but you guys have just some, like, this intangible way to win games you shouldn't and lose games you should. So it's just kind of a weird season for y'all. Let us know how you're feeling.
All right. Now we've got a few games here coming up that are some biggies. And the one I'm obviously most excited about, just a long storied rival game, is Tennessee playing at Florida. And Jake, you want to talk a little bit about that and that spread?
Look, Florida's getting 5.5 here, which feels about right, honestly. Tennessee on the road not been great this year. It's going to be determined, do you get the first half Florida guards from the Georgia game, or do you get the second half? Because if they're turning the ball over and not playing well and shooting terrible, Tennessee should be able to take care of business and win this game. But we're one of the unique teams that can match them in their front court with body size, like, and athleticism. We've got big guys that can stay with Hoff. We got Carey and Brown that can battle with Tinulu, and Condon, like Akpara and Amen, and all those guys can hang with them size and athleticism wise. It's going to come down to the guards. I think I'm with Tennessee on this one. I think Gillespie and Boswell, with you add in some Evans, and I think our depth gets to Florida here a bit. Florida's not a very deep team. We do out offensive rebound them most of the time because we're taking really close shots with like Carey and Akpara and all them missing a dunk and then getting it back to put it back in. But it's just going to come down to the Florida guards and how comfortable you are with them showing up for a full 40 minutes.
I think we're needing a little more from Akpara to be able to win it.
Yeah. Him, Estrella, and Ament need to combine for 20 points.
Completely agree.
I think if those 3 combine for 20 points and Carey and Gillespie and everybody else plays the way they have been, they'll take care of it. But if we can get one very good big man game out of those 3 guys combined, it will be fantastic.
Yeah. To me, this game is a coin toss because it's at Florida. I don't know what Florida team's going to show up. I don't know what Ament is going to show up, but I do put a lot of faith in Gillespie. I think he's the real deal, and I think the game runs through him. So to me, this is a big we'll see. But to me, it's a coin toss as well.
And then Tennessee is the number 1 team in offensive rebounding, and Florida is number 2, which I think is an interesting stat to see. And see how that impacts his matchup.
Well, God knows they give themselves a lot of shots to offensive rebounds sometimes. When the offense goes anemic, it really goes anemic for both these teams. But I think Tennessee's is more of a blip rather than a trend, just because of the pieces that they have. I think once they start firing on all cylinders, you're going to see that number go down because their shooting percentage is going to go up. And we've talked about that at length. The sky's not falling in Tennessee. So I think it'd be a huge win if Tennessee does get this one, especially at Florida.
Then we've got Houston at Baylor.
Baylor struggling right now. They just coming off the Iowa State game where they were ahead and then just kind of got dominated after that. They've also lost to a TCU team, and before that, we just eviscerated for a minute. Like, I know Houston's coming off a very tight Texas Tech game, but I think the talent gap is a little bit too big here, and I think Houston can really flex here. If they don't, I'm going to have a little more questions about Houston than on the road and being able to travel versus what they do at home. So we'll see. I mean, Houston should be able to flex on this one.
Should be. Baylor's obviously got an NBA player on their team, not been insanely productive.
Should he have stayed in Europe?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I think he's got 4 points combined in the 2 games he's played. Like,
yeah, he should have stayed. He's
not even played that much.
Yeah, the grass is not always greener, my guy.
So, but I don't see this being an issue for Houston. I've been wrong before. I don't see this being an issue for Houston.
Then we've got SMU at Duke.
At home, laying 12, like 11.5 feels like a no-brainer. SMU just got beat by Clemson on the road. It was a fun game when they beat North Carolina.
But yeah.
That was also at home, and they shot lights out. Boopy Miller is a great player. If the strategy on Cromwell worked, you just stick Dame Sarr on him, and I don't know that guy breathes. There's not an answer for Boozer out there, especially on this SMU team. The real question, what you're watching for here is Caleb Foster keep doing what he did in the second half against Louisville. If he stays aggressive, and like Ngoma can stay on the floor, this Duke team has a lot of offensive talent out there that's going to be extremely hard to keep pace with.
Yeah, this SMU team, if you would ask me a week ago, I'd be like, this is going to be a fun game to watch. But then after the Clemson loss, I'm like, I'm a little worried this is going to be a absolute massacre. We'll see what happens, but I'm with you, Jake. I think Duke takes this one all the way.
Then we've got the number 1 Arizona Wildcats versus TCU. After TCU's, they've kind of been through it here, as we've already said and talked about.
TCU is going to be up 6 with 2.6 seconds left to go in the game. They're going to lose the game by 8.
Stole that one from me. I'll do the same thing. Yes.
I think 7.5 is fair here. I think Arizona's going to dominate this game, but TCU's just weird team. So I don't know.
This may come back to bite me, but I feel like taking Arizona minus 7.5 is printing money right now, even on the road.
Yeah.
TCU is demoralized off their win. Arizona doesn't blink. No matter where they play, there is not a spot on the floor TCU has an advantage at. Everything is Arizona. They've got depth. They've got the better guards. They got the better player with Kobe Pete. I mean, Bradley's an incredible point guard. Krivas and Awaka are an incredible 1-2 punch down low. I don't know where TCU has anything they're going to say about the positioning of this game. I think it's going to be 15-20.
And what we said earlier, like everybody kind of stopped talking about Arizona for a minute because of everything Michigan was going to do and was doing. Now Michigan kind of got exposed just a little bit. Again, just a little chip in the armor, just a little unpolished play, but we can't talk about it because then we don't know what we're talking about. But this Arizona team be a good opportunity for them to beat the brakes off this TCU team and then remind the country is like, hey, yeah, we're still number 1.
Yeah. Be a fantastic time to.
And then we've got Wisconsin versus Michigan.
Okay. Well, I said this before. I personally think this is going to be a funeral procession for the Badgers. I think Michigan's going to beat the absolute brakes off of them, but I don't know. I don't like can Wisconsin slow the game down? I mean, like we watched what they did against Purdue, and Purdue just kind of took them to the woodshed until they got bored, and then Wisconsin kind of started coming back in that game, and then Purdue just reminded them, hey, get back in the woodshed. I think this Michigan team is more incapable of putting in the woodshed, burying them in a couple trees, and then beating them with the branches on those trees. So, but we'll see. I'd like to see Michigan bounce back and again remind the country who they are. But maybe there's something to study in the game tape with the Penn State game.
Yeah, that's my fear here for Michigan is a couple games that have gotten close. As something got out, is Wisconsin going to be able to repeat those? I mean, Dusty May's a great coach. He's going to get that solved. And I mean, at home, I would trust him. Like if this was at Wisconsin, I'd be a lot more worried. But here, I think Michigan wins that. It's just how much are they going to be able to win it by? I don't think Wisconsin's any good whatsoever. But also didn't think Penn State was any good, and we ended up needing to like come down to the buzzer there. So I don't know. Not that I'm questioning whether Michigan is a top tier team now, but is it 2, 3, 4, or 5 that they belong? I want to see, like, you can't have a game like that against a bad Penn State team and then hold on to argument to be number one. Let's see what you do here.
Yeah. Again, yeah. Was it a bad game or was it a bad sign? I'm thinking it was a bad game, but this game will certainly help finish that tale a little bit.
And then we've got Nebraska at Indiana. Indiana at 4.5 points.
Again, I make stupid bets, so I'm putting this on a parlay, and I'm going to take this Nebraska team has done nothing to warrant being an underdog anywhere. They're playing absolutely fantastic. Nebraska ball is real, in my opinion. This Indiana team, I think they're intriguing. Nebraska is playing much better basketball than IU right now. So, and regardless of where this is at, I personally think Nebraska takes this. There's a bias. I'm a Purdue fan, but I don't root against Indiana. And in fact, I kind of root against Nebraska because I need them to start losing so I can feel better about going into their turf later this year. But I'm going to take Nebraska on this one.
This is a very interesting one to me. I'm not sure what to do with it. I mean, my gut says take Nebraska, but all the metrics and everything are pointing to Indiana.
Yeah.
Which is why like ESPN Analytics has this at 70% chance for Indiana to win. KenPom has them winning, but it's a 58% chance. So like, I don't know. This, like we talked about again, the Indiana team is a mid-major all-star team. Wilkerson and DeVries are doing exactly what we thought we would. Conaway and Bailey are stepping up bigger than I thought they would. They're an old team that they're going to play 5 to 6 junior guys. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. I think this might be the real test of how real Nebraska is. Or should they be knocked back down to that 15 to 26 ranking kind of feel? Because,
yeah,
I mean, this Nebraska squad is everybody that has come up and they've knocked them down has been fantastic. I mean, the Ohio State game was good. Like the Michigan State game, they're showing their defense is better than what people think. I mean, that's what's going to key on to me is how good is that defense. The two Big Ten or like Illinois was the most impressive, but they still gave up 80 points. But the last two, I mean, you held Michigan State to 56, but Michigan State can't shoot a jump shot to save their life, and that was at home. Then you go to Ohio State, who doesn't have a lot of depth. So like, there's reasons that you could have picked them apart with a decent defense. So Indiana seems to be a little bit more balanced. So I'm very curious to see what happens here. It's one of I'm glad it's a noon game because it's going to be fun to watch. The first thing, do we think there's going to be a hangover and nobody's going to be like the crowd's not going to be as raucous for IU at noon tomorrow, or like have they quit drinking because they're up 90 points already and we're getting ready for tomorrow because this one's done.
All the Blue Ears will be stoked.
Yeah,
they're already in bed.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be their big standouts there. No, that's a great take on that. And then we've got Illinois at Iowa.
I think this is going to be, there's not going to be much defense played here. So if you like watching teams just shoot the basketball nonstop with very little interference, I think this is going to be the game to watch.
See, I'm going to disagree with you. I think Illinois got a very good defense.
Yeah, I think their defense is much better than Iowa's.
Yeah, this is, to me, I think Illinois, like we're talking about Purdue being under, like kind of flying under the radar and not being talked about. I think this Illinois team is even worse. Like people are just not paying attention to them after that Nebraska game. But
yeah,
since then they beat Missouri by almost 50, Southern by about the same. Got 8-point game with Penn State, and then they just beat Rutgers by 30 plus. Do they travel as well? I don't know. Illinois teams is starting to look really dangerous, and if you're paying attention, like they're putting 6 guys on the floor that can light you up from deep, and then at a time it feels like, because you cannot cover how far they spread those 5 guys that they have and how quick that ball moves. It is like Rutgers found out the hard way. Like, I mean, you lay off Jake Davis enough and he's going to go 9 for 9 or whatever he went from the corner. Like but you just, it's going to be very hard to guard them, and I don't think Iowa's got the defense. To me, this is all Illinois.
I think it'll be an interesting game. I think KenPom has got this as a 1-point win for Illinois.
That's shocking.
I think it's going to be an interesting game. The scoring is surprisingly low, 72 to 71 for KenPom. So very interesting.
Yeah, I think this will be fun. It will be interesting. Do we have a spread on that?
It's a Sunday game, so no, it hasn't
Oh,
come out yet.
And Ken Palm's got it at 1, so I can't imagine it's going to be anything close to like
It'll be
probably
under
gonna
5.
half, 3 and a
It'll
half.
definitely be under 5, probably 3.
All right, so for the bench behavior for this week, Kentucky fans calling for Pope to be fired. I mean, he came out, 16, Sweet 16 appearance. I mean, the first one in 5 years. And then we're ready to fire the guy. I mean, I understand it's bad, guys. I know it's bad, and I love it. But still, come on, give him some grace. There's obviously something else going on here. But hey, it's okay for his seat to be hot. That's fine. Just don't fire him.
Yeah. So he's got a losing record in the SEC in his Kentucky tenure. His record is matching Billy Gillespie's. So things aren't looking particularly great for him right now. And his demeanor and his tone and the things he's saying when he's getting in front of the microphone don't instill a lot of confidence in any fan base.
It is so eerily similar to Billy Gillespie, and they ran him out of town quickly.
Yeah. I'm not saying fire the guy, but I'm also saying that this guy's not in a good spot mentally. He's not in a good. I don't think he's happy. He's not coaching happy. Their team's not playing happy. It's a weird vibe in Lexington right now. I'm here for it because I'm not a Kentucky fan. I've never really liked their brand. Got a lot of history, got a lot of national titles, have done things that my team hasn't done, but I just never been a fan. But Pope seems like a good guy, and it's made Kentucky more palatable, but this fan base is out for blood. So I'm devil's advocate here. I'm not blaming him. If he was out there and he was kind of like, hey, we're just on a bad stretch, we're going to figure this out, yada, 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 it'd be one thing. But he is doom and gloom right now. And it's in the locker room. It's on the floor. It's everywhere in this program right now. And
when do you think the last time Pope didn't succeed at whatever he did was? I mean, probably been a long time. But I think it's crazy to call for his head right now. One, that is only making the situation worse. Only going to take the legs out of anything he's coaching wise, so killing any improvement. Like the SEC record, yeah, it's a losing record right now. The Missouri game was bad. Like I'm not excusing that.
Really bad.
He also last year went through a historically all-time great conference overall. So I don't know that you can count his SEC record as a traditional SEC record. He played in one of the toughest conferences to have ever existed last year. And made it to the Sweet 16, because showing that the team was good. Like, maybe he needs to hire a GM because he obviously didn't piece this team together right. Be overpaid, which is always terrible to do when you're overpaying with somebody else's money. But
right.
I think, one, light a seat on fire. That's fine. Get it hot. Say like, hey, this is unacceptable. Call him for his head on his second year is crazy, especially what do you think's out there? What are you going to get? You're going to convince Bruce Pearl to come back to coaching, or Jay Wright, or any of those guys that have bailed out because they didn't like the NIL and transfer portal and all that? Like, you're going to get those guys to come back, or are you going to try to take Nate Oates? What I've heard, like, I don't think he's leaving Bama. Like, it's
they tried to get Nate Oates before, I believe, right?
Well, I've read some rumors and stuff that they had the AD there had a no list, and Pearl and Oates were both on the no list because he didn't like what they did and got in some trouble with the NCAA, which I thought is crazy to hold that over their heads for that long and seeing what they're both doing like in conference rivals.
Yeah.
But that, like, the AD's got different issues because it took way too long to fire Stoops and all that, but that's a different story. Going for Pope's head right now is crazy, but I think getting the seat hot and letting him know he's ruining his legacy, all fair games.
Yeah, and on that, like, this is a really bad Kentucky basketball team. Things are not breaking their way. Nothing looks good. Nothing looks promising. This Kentucky fan base is also extremely toxic. I think the worst thing that happens to programs is winning, because then they get accustomed to it and get expectations. And this Kentucky team's they think they should be national title contenders every year because of the name on their jersey. But the players that they're getting are not bought into any program. They're just paid. They're just bought athletes. You can only squeeze lemons so far. It's just not it's just not panning out. I don't blame the Kentucky fans because, again, their expectations are incredibly high and they're a toxic fan base. They're used to winning. I also like just looking out for Pope from a mental aspect. I don't think this might not be the right fit for him too. So it's just a very interesting scenario in Lexington right now. Not one I like fully anticipated, but also like not surprised either.
Do you think he's looking back at BYU going, well, damn?
Yeah.
Answer for Debanza.
Yeah, like I was 1 year away from a billionaire coming in and letting me get a team of guys that want to be there and then eventual NBA All-Star player.
Yeah.
And instead I'm stuck here at Kentucky where everybody hates me and my team doesn't like me and I don't like them.
Yep.
Well, good thing our team loves us and they need us to step in and take care of business to finish this thing up.
See y'all next month.
Take care, y'all.